Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, June 25th, 2021, and we are back for another chop session. We're calling this one Number 114, Silence is Golden. That's right, we are back, and we're still keeping that theme from now until July 24th. This is, listen, the path of destruction. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're looking for as we count down the days to the big heavyweight championship fight where the former champ Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder is going to be going to try to regain his title from his conqueror Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. And so a lot of the Friday night chop sessions will be Wilder based, Fury based, and you'll find us on this particular show talking about that fight in much detail as it is on the horizon and as a countdown. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to be doing as we go forward. I want to say welcome to everybody that's out there. Don't forget, please don't forget to smash the like button as you come in. And before we get things kicked off, I just want to do a little bit of a I guess you can call it, because you know, it's all a part of the show now, but I want to call it my little pay the bills commercial advertising here. You know, don't forget down there in the description box for merchandise for the channel, Stormybman channel. We've got the Streamlabs link there. You click on that link, it'll take you to the Streamlabs store. Also, there's a place where you can donate to the channel off of that same link. There's a PayPal link in the description box on the main page. And just under the Stormybman banner picture there's a clickable link as well for PayPal for those who would prefer to have a more exclusive means of donating to the channel. We have PayPal, we have Cash App. Cash App is the $StormyBman66. Then you have the PayPal, and just know that at the Streamlabs store we have an assortment of goodies that people can purchase for themselves. We have hats, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have windbreakers, backpacks, coffee mugs. Just, you know, trek on over there and check out some of the merchandise and see if there's something for you. Okay. And also, we've got going down there in the description box is also another link for the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, where Stormybman has become an ambassador for the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, and you can find yourself going right over there with the shareable link that's at the bottom. And if you enter the code Stormybman, you get 10% off of a purchase. So if you find yourself wanting to get a bundle of items, you know, there's lotions, there's beard oils, there's hair oils, soaps, all types of products, handcrafted products that are good for your skin and health wise. Just go on over there and check it out. They got an assortment of things, and like I said, you bundle something up, enter that code Stormybman, you get 10% off on your purchases. Yeah. And also, for those who may be interested, it seems like not many are, but we also have the free giveaway on the Stormybman channel, where the 50th person to put Enter the Win in can win this classic kung fu film remastered on Blu-ray, Jackie Chan's Drunken Master. You don't have to be a person that's a part of the Kung Fu Film Focus or anything like that. But if you're just interested in a free giveaway, you know, that all you have to do is write a comment on one of the videos for the channel or one of the live streams that we do here. It doesn't matter which show, but in the comment section, if you make your comment and after your comment you type in enter to win, that particular comment will be counted toward the winning prize here. It's only 50, so it's more than 50 of you, you know, that are subscribed to the channel. So what y'all doing? Get your butts on over there and press the damn button for comments and put into the win so you can get this giveaway here, because it's hot on my shelf, brand new, never been opened, so it's looking for a home and looking for a player to play in. So do the right thing and enter the win so you can get your Jackie Chan movie, man. Stop messing around. Stormybman got to get on your case, because just like you don't be paying attention when we be going over these subjects out here, you don't be paying attention when I tell you how you can get your free prize here on the channel. What you doing messing around? So now that we got the paying the bills out the way, we're going to get on down to the chat and see who's out here, man. My man, Big Homie Coop, he's always out there. He says, salute, Sifu, salute to you. Back smack the like button, people, and class is in session. He says, pay attention. You see, Big Homie Coop knows, and he shows up bright-eyed and ready and raring to go. First person to comment in the chat, and he's telling all y'all what to do. So follow his lead, because he's on the right path. I don't know about some of you out there. You just out there, you know, you lingering around on some of them other shows and everything, sniffing around here. Don't be sniffing around here. Be coming in here ready to get some education on the sport of boxing when Stormybman is ready to lay it down for you out here. That's right. And then we got Mike 202, channel member out there, says, blessings, Sensei. Blessings to you, Mike. Appreciate you out there. My man, channel member Bruce Goals is out there. The OG says, salute, Stormybman, my bro. Salute to you. And DT, channel member, is out there. It is really great to see the channel members coming out in full effect out here. DT is saluting. And let's see who else we got. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. My brother's out there. He says, salute my peoples. And Bruce says, tell them, Stormybman. Yeah, I have to tell them, man, because they be messing around out here, man. I don't know what's wrong with them, man. You know, if I was giving away, you know, something of, you know, illegal substances or something, I couldn't get them off of my channel, huh? It's just a simple movie, a classic at that. And if they watch it, they'll find they'll enjoy it, even those who never seen it before. That's right. Sheldon Holmes is out there, says, salute Stormy in chat. Salute to you, brother. Yes, sir. So we are here, man, for another chop session. Titled this one, Silence is Golden. Still playing up on the theme regarding the press conference that took place a little over a week ago, where Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury came together for the first and only press conference leading up to their showdown for July 24th. And as we all now know, the brother decided to not speak beyond his opening remarks at the press conference and didn't want to take any questions from the media or anything. He allowed his coach and trainer, excuse me, Malik Scott, to do his talking for him at that presser, which is understandable because the brother's going to save and conserve as much energy and patience as he can, because he wants to do his talking in the ring. And it's funny how the media, you know, were attacking in a manner that they were kind of appalled that he wouldn't speak to them and things like that. But it wasn't nothing personal. This was all about business. And anyone who knows fighters who get into a certain frame of mind building up toward what they have to do, you have to respect the warrior space. Huh? Mike Tyson did stuff like that all the time, and he was rude with his. He'd call people out their names and all kind of names, anything under the heavens. You know what I mean? And they were right there with their microphones just listening to him, shaking like leaves on a tree, but listening all the same. Deontay's respectfully just, you know, he decided to wear his headset, and he sat there, noise canceling, you know. And since his adversary, Mr. Fury, wants to be the big mouth, you know, he let him have the floor because that's what he does. And he's no longer interested in trying to be entertaining. He's interested in getting in there and taking care of business. Anyone who's been around the boxing game for a long time through generations, I'm not talking about just through the past few years, we're talking about generations, can understand exactly where he's coming from. It's nothing new. Although they tried to make a story out of it, they try to make story out of that, just like they made stories out of everything else since the second fight ended. You know, they've made up all types of remarks, all types of things that the champ never even said, but wanted to carry forth a particular position, even to the degree of stating things as if he doesn't even deserve, you know, the third fight, which they were contractually obligated for, even though he said immediately after the fight, he said, I will exercise my option to take the third fight. And here they are. You had critics, you had naysayers, you had people who were professional fighters themselves and people who work for the networks, all coming on board with one accord stating, oh, he should just go off into the sunset. Why should he? There have been fighters who have looked horrible and lost and had all kinds of problems and come back and have redemption. This man doesn't deserve his redemption? Huh? I mean, where is the fair play of stakes in boxing where a person has an opportunity at their get back, especially if they had been a reigning champion? You see, that's the most important factor here. So many people were relishing and enjoying the fact that the champ lost. They were willing and ready to sweep him to the side as if he were worth of no value anymore and want to move on ahead. Particularly because the man who now has that WBC title doesn't look like him. And see, that's a shame, because the sport thrives when titles change hands, but also when someone gets the opportunity for rematching. Okay? Because rematching gives you an opportunity to fix what may have gone wrong, to repair what may have been broken, to certify what really it means to you to have your get back. And if you notice, the few times he has spoken, the champ has said he wants his back in blood. Now, for those of us who know the street talk and the street aspect of everything, that can mean many different things. But I'll tell you, in a clean sense of what that means to me, it just means that with the intensity and the, as they say nowadays, energy of everything he's had to face going forward, hey, he wants to pay back double fold, triple fold, and he's earned the right to do that. So no problem with that from me, man. I want to see what can happen off of that. Just let the man come on out there and fight for the title. That's all that's important. And bring that guy who is supposedly the one who defeated him, and make sure he's there on the other side of that ring come fight night on the 24th. When the bell rings, you make sure he's in there. That's all. And everything else will work itself out from there. That's right. So just remember that. Everybody out there listening, you know what I'm talking about. So, hey.
Squad!
That's right. That's right. That's what it is. So, and that's how we celebrate it around here. So, but yeah, it's a big weekend of boxing. And we have some fights on the horizon. We'll talk about those a little bit. I want to wait for my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens to get on here with me so we can begin to discuss these fights that are on the horizon. But we also have some other news that we can talk about. We've seen this week a few stories and conversations that have taken place. And I'll tell you, man, boxing is always, it always has by stories or subplots or something like that. Stuff is always going on, man, and you have to watch the sport because people, let's put it like this, the players, the game remains the same, but the players may change. And what we're seeing right now, you got a lot of movement going around. You know, the Teofimo Lopez fight with he and George Carabos, it's not going to happen. And some people have speculated, you know, why it's not going to happen. The official report was Teofimo Lopez tested positive for COVID. And though that's a serious thing and nothing to sneer or play with, it would seem to me that that would be an odd thing because the fighters are constantly being tested and their camps are being monitored and things like that. And there are restrictions, even though things are starting to open up again publicly and socially. This is how these guys earn their paydays. So it's like to be able to remain disciplined and confined would seem to be a commitment. And if he has not done that and contracted COVID, you know, again, let it be a lesson to all others. But some of the rumors out there have stated things such as, you know, he's having trouble making weight. He may have been on the cusp of testing positive for PEDs. Some people may have even thought that this might have been one of those situations where he wanted to just slip aside and not go through with this particular fight because his opponent was so turned up and ready to go. He may have not been able to match that same energy. I'm not accusing. I'm just stating what the stories are out there. And then even the final story, I won't say final, but one of the more recent stories was his ticket sales weren't going as well as expected. So listen, man, the dude was never real big box office anyway. He was fighting off of ESPN under Top Rank. So when Triller, I think it was, that threw a money bag at him and he went over there and signed with them for this particular fight, hey, you should have known. Did you investigate what his track record was when it came to doing television broadcast or something? I don't know that they did that, but you want to now pull the plug on things because your ticket sales aren't where they're supposed to be? Shame on you. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you saw that Bob came back and signed the guy to a new contract and everything. So everything must be good in the hen house with Mother Bob. But at the same time, I don't really care what's happening with Teofimo Lopez. I want to see him get in the ring and unify with Devin Haney, the man who had been ducked not only by Vasily Lomachenko, but also by Teofimo Lopez. And also Mr. Mauricio Sulaiman, who's out there trying to claim that Teofimo is undisputed, even though Devin Haney has the WBC title. And that's the main title anyway. And yet and still, they're trying to act like the young man doesn't exist. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. The sport of boxing is what it is, and it's up to the fighters to take control of their careers and put some of these questionable entities in its place. But hey, we're just here to report it and talk about it. But you know, it's really up to these fighters, man. So let me go back to the chat for a moment. Mike 202 says, if the champ would have talked, they would have been complaining. When he don't speak, they're still complaining. Yeah, you know how that is, Mike 202. It is that type of thing. When you're talking about what the champ does, how he represents and everything, it has nothing to do with who he is as a person and everything. It has everything to do with bigotry. It has everything to do with bias and prejudice. No more, no less. At what point in any time in history of sport did you see people come out the woodwork to celebrate an American champion losing against a foreigner? And since Tyson Fury is from the UK, that is considered, he's a foreigner on this soil. So it's like, you know, they're celebrating the fact that, you know, the champ lost. And you notice I say he lost because that does show up in the record books as an L. But we all know that there's an asterisk by that. We all know that there's controversy surrounding that. And it is what it is. We just want to get to the 24th and get through this third fight so we can see the crookeds made straight. That's all. Let's see. Andrew Charles has joined us. He says, salute Stormy B-Man, salute to you. And Mike 202 also is saying, hey, remember how fast AJ got his rematch? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There was no way that Andy Ruiz Jr. could take another step in any other direction because they had cornered him off at the pass and said, hey, you're fighting. I wouldn't be surprised if they even threatened Andy's life, man, because these guys are so as they are. You know, he had no recourse but to get right back in there. And I'm not so sure that AJ wanted to get back in there so fast. But again, the powers that be and how they work things out, they probably told him, you big dummy, you better get your butt out there too. You know, neither one of you chumps got anything to say about this. We putting you both out there back in the pastures. And so the fight took place 6 months later. Now the thing with Fury and Wilder, it should have taken place last year. But they made all types of excuses and came up with ideas to go in different directions, which I didn't understand because there was a contract in place. And how about all the lies that have been told? You've had Ed Hearn get involved, which I don't know why. He has nothing to do with either fighter. But Bob Arum would go out there on different places of broadcasts and everything and tell anyone within earshot several different lies. And this man lies so much that it doesn't even bother him. He has no conscience, you know. Remember, the biggest lie he told was Deontay Wilder let the terms of the contract expire. What? Are you kidding me? You gotta be kidding, man. That, no way. But he said it, and he had people believing it. Even people in our own community who were not attached to a source where they could get that. You know what I'm saying? They were like, oh man, I can't believe the brother let the contract expire. They were really like starting to rail against Deontay. And it's like people who were close to the champ had to come out and say, hey, pump the brakes. This is not true. This is not true. Bob Arum has been lying to people like he lied to Bud Crawford. He's just hold on. Pacquiao's coming. Sit right there. That's what he was doing. But listen, man. I want to say salute to my brothers out there in the super chat. We got Taylor Bell out there with a super chat donation to the channel. And we also got Mr. Gumbo out there. Sit down somewhere, Mr. Gumbo. He says, just my respect to my uncle Stormybman, my elevator music uncle. See, that's why I tell him to sit down, because he always talking about my music on the channel, man. But you know good and well that Stormy's music is like soothing, you know. It's the best kind of music you can hear, brother. When I play my music, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get jazz, sometimes you get R&B, you know. But that's good music. And thank you both brothers for your donations to the channel, man. Appreciate you both. So, yeah, Bob, he has told so many lies, man. It's ridiculous. And it's with that bit of, how do you want to call it, convincing. You know, he comes across quite convincing. But the man is a liar, man. He'll lie, and he'll have you believe in all types of things, and the truth ain't in him, huh? But, you know, like I said, Wilder's camp, he has certain people out there that have their ear to the ground, and they can dispel the lies. But it's just ridiculous all the same, because all it does is create gossip, you know. And as far as what I'm, you know, have to say about that, creating that gossip, man, listen.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at it.
It's like, you know, and that's what Bob does. He keeps going on airwaves telling these lies and stuff, man, and spreading these rumors and stuff like that. You know, he worse than an old woman, huh? Out there telling lies on people and everything. I think that people should stop bringing him on their shows, huh? He comes out there and he's just gossiping and everything. And remember, he told you once before, he said this. Fans are like rocks. You can kick them in whatever direction that you want. And he said, yesterday I was lying. Today I'm telling you the truth. How can you take anything from a person who says stuff like that solidly? Huh? The man is 2,000 years old, if a day. And you know what? He need to go and sit down somewhere. We smell his pamper. You know what I mean? It's just enough already. Just enough. Go sit your butt down somewhere. Let one of them younger folks in the organization step on up to that position and be an overseer. Because you done had your day, bro. Huh? And your bladder don't hold up. So go sit down somewhere and stop lying all the doggone time. That's what you need to do, Mr. Bob Arum. Man, can't believe how he just went out there and told lies like that. He told lies about Bud Crawford. Remember, he said recently, oh, we're going to have a big announcement in a few days, you know, about Crawford's next opponent. Man, a few days turned into weeks, and now it's still been a month or so or more, and then still no announcement. And they had everybody believing that, oh, it might be Pacquiao, it might be this person, it might be that person. We knew it wasn't going to be Earl Spence, because Bob has said, huh? He lost so much money on Bud that he could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. Well, you know what, Bob? You don't need a house in Beverly Hills, huh? You need a room at one of those nursing homes, huh? So don't worry about Beverly Hills. Your days of Beverly Hills is done, huh? Like I said, let these young folks come on out there and start coming up in the company and doing some things a different way. And don't forget, we ain't forgot about that NBF too, Huh? That NBF rule and out there in Top Rank, y'all need to do away from that, man. Get off of that. Start giving these young fighters the opportunities that they so deserve. What else we got out here? When the chat. Let's see, we got Mr. Gumbo greeting people. Taylor Bell is laughing. He says, tell him, Stormy. Man, listen. I'm not saying anything you guys haven't heard already, and I don't want to sound like I'm repeating what others have said, but all of these things are actual factual. You know, it has transpired. And the one thing that we haven't got is any closer to closure. All it's been is BS disclosure from this guy. And the sooner you get him out of the way, the better you're going to be. You know what I mean? You're still going to have to deal with this other guy, Hearn, on the other side of the pond, because he's every bit as bad too. Next week, mate. Next week. You know, ain't that what he been telling people? Huh? Another liar. The best thing out of this has been Hearn and Bob going at each other. The fact that they don't like each other, that's kind of nice because that's entertaining, you know. But it'll only last so long because Bob ain't built to go the distance. Hearn will be around a lot longer than he will. So, just something to stick in the cap there. But yeah, man, we could keep it moving on this subject. But I just don't like how, you know, the man has come out and done his business. You know, last week I didn't talk about the Charlo fight, but it turned out to be pretty good. Juan Montiel fought pretty good against Charlo. He fought with a determination that saw him not come and lay down. But it was clear who was the more talented fighter, and that was Maul Charlo. But Montiel was in condition. He was built to absorb punishment, and that's what he did. He was hurt in the fight several times, refused to go down, and he gave a game effort. But that's all that can be said about it, really. It was a game effort, but I don't think he won a round. But he did have some moments where it looked like he shook Maul a little bit, and Maul's face looked like he had taken some battering too. But at the end of the day, he got through it. He probably wasn't motivated against the guy, thus going into it with a little bit of a struggle at the scales for the weigh-in and whatnot. But, you know, he came through. And that's the most important thing. Good fight, entertaining. But please, can we stop seeing these what I like to call showcase fights, man. Showcasing the house fighter, showcasing the name fighter, showcasing the network fighter, you know. Let's see some 50-50 matches, man. Let's see some, when you look at it on paper, a person got to scratch their head and go, oh, I'm not so sure about this one, huh? And the odds get closer, huh? The fan interest comes back when you do that. Stop selling this watered down Kool-Aid stuff and trying to tell somebody it's wine, huh? Stop it, man, because this is ridiculous already. We want to see some championship caliber fights and top contender matches, and they can do it. There's plenty of guys out there. It's like a fish bowl, and you have all these different type of fish in the bowl, and they're not like the kind that will kill each other, but they're the ones that'll thrive with each other, and they'll just swim around each other and everything. That's what it's like. We need to put some of them fish in there that will start consuming the others, huh? And it's like going after them. You say, wait a minute, it was 3 goldfish in there today. It's only 1 left. Yeah, That's what we need to see, huh? That's what we need to see, because this other thing that they're doing, this showcase fights, that's not where it's at, man. Not in the least. And Jaime Munguia situation, he beat Zerameta, but you know, Jaime Munguia had knocked out Montiel. So what's up with that? Let's put Jaime Munguia in with Charlo. Mel Charlo and Jaime Munguia. Let's see it. Stop messing around. Put them two guys in there with each other. Huh? And you'd be surprised who I'd pick in that fight. Let's see it be made. Yes, sir. But listen, man. You know, boxing is just, it leaves a lot to be desired right now on the table. We really need more competitive matches, man. There are so many fighters out here now and so many titles. The extra titles give contenders an excuse not to even contest against the true champions. And the true champions are hard to figure out because of the multitude of titles. And then anyone who's an up-and-coming prospect, they have to figure out where they fit in. Look at guys like Shakur Stevenson, Jaron Ennis. You know, where do they go? It's like nobody wants to give them a shot. Nobody wants to fight them and everything. So it's like, this is really a conundrum. It's like, what are they doing? You got to get in there and fight, man. You got to get in there and make matches. It's ridiculous. I got some bronchial situation going on, so forgive me, people. I might keep my cold drink of water with me. Yeah, what's good with you, L-Dub? I see you out there in the house, man. I caught you in what's the name, Conor Loco yesterday. Y'all had a good show. Was that yesterday, day before? My days are running together. When y'all did your boxing talk, your collaboration, good show, man. Like that. Salute to L-Dub Boxing out there. And you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the brother, please do so, because he can keep you up on what's happening with news in the sport, man. Big time. He said Shakur versus Herring in October or November, and Boots on the Spence Pacquiao undercard versus a notable welterweight. We'll see, because there ain't nobody want to get in there with him. We know Sean Porter got a built-in defense to not go after that fight. It's a shame too. You know, it's a shame. But what we gonna do? Talk about it till the cows come home. This is the only era I could recall in boxing where all the present day fights that you would like to see wind up as being fantasy fights. That's what it is. Fantasy fights. It's crazy. When we talk about silence being golden, the title of this show is like, it gets real silent when somebody is good want to test their mettle against somebody else that's good. Crickets. That's what you hear. You don't hear these guys stepping up saying, hey, I got this. I got this. Let's do it. You hear these guys saying, you know, what has he done? It's high risk, low reward. All of that stupid, funny, soft stuff, man. We never even heard those terms back in the like 80s, man. High risk, low reward. Nobody spoke that phrase. You know, it's a phrase that these guys use today just to get up out of something, you know. Don't they know it's a high risk and low reward to be walking around with them skinny jeans on and everything and them man purses? That's high risk, low reward. What you walking around like that for? I think you need to go over there and challenge Clarissa Shields or something. Walking around like that, You getting me confused. Huh? Yeah. All that jewelry you want to wear and everything. Jewelry is for the ladies, man. Huh? Putting on all that stuff, man. You looking like a fool. But hey, you know, it's Stormy, right? That's what I think. But, you know, you guys up there, y'all will be shelling out the dollars for them when they fight another nobody, and you go up and checking his Instagram every day. That's why he getting on. He going to put some lip gloss on for you pretty soon. And then what you going to do, huh? When he make a pass at you, because you following them all the time. You know, that's what they do, right? On these social, I follow somebody. I ain't following, man, I don't care. I see you when I see you, huh? I ain't following you nowhere, huh? Yeah. But anyway, that's you guys. Y'all like to do that kind of stuff like that. Yeah, checking somebody's Instagram. I don't care about no damn Instagram. You know what I mean? I really don't. The only thing I want to know is who fighting, when they fighting, and, you know, where it's going to be so I can, you know, tune in. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know all that other stuff. Huh? So, yeah. But like I said, L-Dub got all that info, man. He know when everybody fighting. L-Dub know I got a guy that I like out there in the welterweight division, and hey, he coming along, and I ain't in no hurry for him, because by the time some of these other guys get doing what they doing, he'll be done developed pretty nicely. Mo Boxing, I see you out there, bro. What's good with you? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah, you guys see I got that playing in the background. You know, that's Dillian White taking one from Povetkin, you know, taking his sleeping pills. That was a beautiful night in boxing, I tell you, bro. Beautiful night in boxing. Yes, sir. Where my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens at? He should be on there by now. I was waiting for Reggie. And I can go ahead and get down into some of this other information I have for you guys. One of the things I wanted to talk about too is my updated I got an updated Thunderous Top 10 that I wanted to share with you guys this evening. I was going to do it last week, but we cooked so much on Deontay last week that the show was totally dedicated in that respect. And I didn't want to do that this week. So I was going to come back and present that Thunderous Top 10 to you guys and give you a little going over that list and let you know what it's all about, because my Thunderous Top 10 is not a pound for pound list. It's not. So just let that be known. What's going on, Reggie? I see you out there.
What's up? What's happening, OG?
It's all good, man. Just glad to be out here, you know, chatting it up on the airwaves and whatnot, trying to save some of the content because I wanted, you know, to have a discussion. You know, it's a chop session, so I was trying to wait for you, you know.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Mo Boxing out there in the chat says, who you got, Stormybman, between Loma and Nakatani? We're going to get to that, man. We're going to get to that. But let me throw this at you, Reggie. I open up, you know, as I was saying, this is the countdown to destruction, you know, where we're between now and the 24th, every Friday night chop session, we're going to have our pound of flesh talking about the third fight, the rubble match between Fury and Wilder. And there were some things that kicked off this week, man. I didn't like it, Reggie. I didn't like it at all, man. and I wanted to run something by you and see what you had to say about it, because as we, you know, we do what we do on the airwaves and everything, but these other people, they do what they do, you know what I mean? And sometimes when people do certain things, they don't realize they are like drawing blood or going for blood, or, you know, something like that. And I thought when I saw this, they were drawing blood. And I'm going to put it up here on the screen. And I know you know about it. There's been some guys talking about it pretty much much of the day. These statues. I wanted to ask you, Reggie, I don't know if you had a chance to cook on it yet with your channel or anything, but what do you think about these statues, man, that they unveiled today?
Man, to be honest, OG, I don't think nothing of it. I just think it's them trying to gloat, trying to talk, and trying to offend. And I think it's something that's, because I was looking into who is this guy that created, and he's a sculptor. So I don't know if it's something that Ricky hadn't purchased, as far as his purchase to highlight that. But them statues don't mean too much anything. They ain't going in front of no building. They ain't going in front of no arena. They just gonna be locked away, dusting up in somebody's living room, in their garage, or wherever the heck they put it, or in that guy who sculpted it front lobby before he decides to throw it away. Because it's only there for a limited time, because if Fury don't come through with what they predict and what they want as far as in that third fight, he got to throw that mess away because it becomes obsolete. So me, I don't think too much of it. I already know there's always going to be the side where people try to come with a fence. That's part of war. So me, I just think of it in the mindset of what war is about. War is to throw people off, to offend people, to try to get emotions out of people. And that sculpture, it ain't ordered by whatever, however the UK is structured, it ain't ordered by the state. It wasn't ordered by a team. It wasn't even ordered by Frank Warren. Frank Warren don't want the junk. It was put up there by that sculptor. Don't know if he's trying to sell it or if Ricky Hatton's the one that paid for it. But Ricky Hatton's a dope fiend. So, I mean, if Ricky Hatton want to floss about it, I mean, somebody can go buy one where he run into diving head first into a turnbuckle and bouncing up off the mat. Somebody can buy one him getting that off switch hit off his chin from Pacquiao. It's a lot Ricky Hatton can get put up there on. But for me, the statue don't mean too much anything. It's just for them to try to offend, to get emotions out of folks. But it's all part of war, and that's what I feel like in the show. She's starting this war, so they ain't know where to step. That's right. Front living room.
Hey, Taylor Bell, my man out there, you know what to do, right? Because we talked about this, and we ain't gonna have that. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is a pro Deontay Wilder channel. And if you want to come out here and you want to talk about his brain damage and things like that, you can consider yourself out of there. Anyway, Reggie, I do think a lot of it, because I've been on this earth for half a century plus, and something like this was done with a spiteful underlinement, and that is why I'm speaking about it. There is no reason to celebrate a fighter like Fury, who's a known cheat, he's a drug abuser, things of that nature. But this is the thing. We've seen them embrace him in a manner which, like, if Gentleman Jerry Cooney were around today, that would be the model, you know, for what you would want, because Jerry could fight and he was a gentleman. So much to the degree he didn't want to allow himself to be used in certain degrees as a tool with race. But this situation here, it's the equivalent. I put it right up there with when Sergey Kovalev was addressing Adonis Stevenson while wearing a shirt that had a monkey on it, and referring to the shirt being Adonis Stevenson's likeness, you know. And this whole thing, and again, you see they've adorned these statues with the flags of the nations. Even when he fought Max Schmeling, the president of the country got behind Joe Louis and was like, these are the type of muscles that we need to win this battle, you know. And we've diminished so much as a society here now that our champion prior to the rematch was booed at the weigh-in. Now they have a few people who flew over here, but a lot of the boo birds came from Americans, Reggie. And so now what we're seeing, there was news today about the George Floyd Chauvin guy and his sentencing and things of that nature, and his mom coming out trying to defend all of this stuff. You're seeing the tensions of race here. And again, I'll address what Jermel Charlo talking about. Race didn't matter for the fight. It did. It always matters. It matters whenever he's going to fight this fight he has coming up. It's going to matter. Whether it comes to fruition or it comes to a head or whatever, that remains to be seen. But it exists. So the statues rather here, there's supposed to be a message with this. It's a driving point here that they're making a statement. So if a person chooses to not think much of this, that's fine. That's your prerogative. However, please embrace the meaning, because it is tremendously evident what this is serving. And when you talk about, oh, it's just they're celebrating the fact that Fury defeated Wilder. Fury is no champion. He is nothing to sing praise of. But I'm going to share something with you. Give me 1 second, because I'm going to go into my archive here and pull up something I want to share. Give me 1 second. Just 1 second. Bear with me, family. I'm just waiting for my computer to pull up my... If anyone wants to find this, you can actually Google it. But this is a quote by Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson, the former president. After JFK was assassinated, he took over the presidency as he was vice president. He was known to state this, and this applies to what I have to think and say about Tyson Fury. Lyndon B. Johnson was quoted as saying, "If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice. While you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you." That's Lyndon B. Johnson, former president of the United States. Now, I will read that one more time because I stumbled over it a little bit. It's actually still a bitter pill to swallow. He says, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Huh? That's the sentiment that is representative of the statue here. Because you're talking about Tyson Fury, who happens to be one of the lowest white men to be a professional, not only just a professional fighter, but we're talking about the heavyweight divisions, which is supposed to be the baddest man on the planet and all of that, right? So, with a sentiment like that, Tyson Fury is representative of the worst of us, the worst of them. Where was he before Wilder got in contact with him and said, hey, man, get yourself together. I get you a title shot and everything. That was that olive branch that I did a video on a few days back when I said the sword and the olive branch. Wilder was looking for someone to compete with, and AJ didn't want to fight with him, and other fighters is like, you know, testing positive for PEDs. So he said to Fury, hey, you clean yourself up, I'll give you a shot. Not only will I give you a shot, I'll give you 50-50. And look what Fury did with the opportunity. And let us not forget, his victory lap in the ring was to sing that song, Bye Bye American Pie. He just defeated the American champion and was celebrated by Americans because of his skin color. So when you see this statue, and mind you, it's a 3-piece statue. This is Tyson Fury standing over Deontay Wilder as he falls, and Deontay Wilder on the ground. All indicating that the white man must remain upright over the black man. That's what this is. It's symbolism. But it's there to drive a point home. But what's interesting is they've draped the flags on these men. Now, I just told you guys that when Joe Louis was fighting Max Schmeling, the president said, these are the muscles that we need to win this battle. As prejudiced as the president may have been at that time, he would not fix his mouth to say anything otherwise than what he wanted to do as far as supporting and show support for the heavyweight champion or the contender for the title, because Lewis was the champ and fighting Schmeling in this rematch. But he wanted to drive that point home that we got to support you, because Max Schmeling represented the Nazi party, even though he didn't physically want to represent that himself, but Hitler had adorned him with that. The master race thing and all of that just before WW2. So here you have it. Symbolism and how they want to drive a certain point home. And that's what they did here. Ricky Hatton is smiling. He's gloating here. And don't forget, Ricky Hatton was in that corner working with Fury. So it's like they know what they were doing over there during that time, but at the same time, now they have come out here. He's put that information out. I heard, I don't know where the original source of these photos came, but I heard that it was on his Instagram. I don't know how true that is. But I do recognize and understand what the message is supposed to be here. And I don't find it humorous. I don't find it a piece of art. I think it's a piece of crap. They may as well have made a statue and sculpture of a man standing over two men with a whip in his hand. Or those little Goonies that they put in your yard with the guy that's dressed like a jockey with a whip and everything, and he's black with red and white on him. You know, it's like those little gnomes they put out there, which are despicable and they're disrespectful. But in 2021, where everyone wants to be so damn sensitive about things, people need to get sensitive about the right things. And remember, you're so sensitive about things that it has become desensitizing to you to know where your real feelings should be. Your real feelings shouldn't be toward your brother and your sister. Your real feelings should be toward your oppressor. And the oppressor is right there, right in front of you. This is not cool. It'll never be cool. But this is also the kind of thing that they do.
It's going to be offensive.
Huh?
It's war. It's going to be offensive things. Either get your hate up or keep being offended by these people.
But
keep letting these people win because they create statues. That statue comes from a crackhead. That statue has zero meaning to it. That's what they're supposed to do. And it's also on our side to make statues what offends folks. That statue is pointless.
What I said was, when I first saw it, I said, oh, this should be some pretty darn good bulletin board material. Just like when you playing on a football team or an NBA team or a baseball team, and you're in the dugout or whatever, and you're getting yourself prepped to go out and battle against that other team or whatever. This is prime bulletin board material right here. And there should be a certain mindset that comes with this. But for those of us out here who are misdirected, miseducated, and uninformed, you got to know what you're dealing with, man. And remember, you got people out here who are professionals. They are on television. They are on the airwaves talking about the sport and everything. But they ain't going to say nothing about this. I guarantee. But I'm not going to continue to drive this home. I just wanted to speak on that a little bit. I want to say salute to my man, Pac-Man 216 out there in that Cash App. He says, for keep up the good work. Thank you, brother, and I appreciate your donation to the channel and to the show, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, we can move on from this one. But I just thought I speak my piece and share that, because I was like, wow, you know, okay, I know what to do. And I said my piece on it, and I'm not going to keep driving it home or anything like that. But it is what it is, and we're going to move forward. I know that we have a number of fights coming up this weekend. And before we get to talking about the fights, I thought I would break out that thunderous top 10, because it's been updated. And now is a good time to just go ahead and bring that out. I think we have, yeah, I see it now. I got multiple screens going. That's why I'm busy over here conducting. Forgive me, people. We got another super chat out there. Demetrius Bright out there in that super chat. He says, Stormy, what do you think about Andre Durrell saying he's the one that convinced Breland to throw in the towel? Your thoughts? Well, we knew that early on, because it was something that was said, and you know, it is what it is. Breland came out, threw the towel out. He was allowed himself to be influenced by Durrell. They have a working relationship from the past and all of that. So, you know, it is what it is. But let's not cry over this spilled milk. Let's just look ahead to what we can do going forward. And both of those guys, you know, they've revealed things, and people have figured things out about them, and it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. So those are my thoughts on that. But let's get to this thunderous top 10, Reggie. Like I said, I made some changes on it. Give everybody a chance to look at this. This is a new list, updated with some changes. I've got Devin Haney there at number 10, and just above him is Oscar Valdez at number 9. Joshua Boise fell off the list because I made a huge change at the top, where you can currently see at number 2 there's a new face on there, and I can explain why. But everyone else, from Jamal Charlo and Terrence Crawford going up, Terrence has fallen down because he has missed the opportunities to take fights that were on the table for him that could keep him in the stakes of consideration for being not only top pound for pound, but putting him closer in a position to battle Earl Spence Jr. for the welterweight supremacy. And he's elected not to do that. I cannot continue to consider him top flight when all he's doing as far as flight is fleeing away from the competition and the opposition. So Bud Crawford, just like he doesn't give a damn about fans and doesn't care much of what people have to say, but people don't have to tune in and watch your crap either. And especially if you're looking to fight lesser opposition, when you have men available to you that could help your legacy. When you talk about Keith Thurman, when you talk about Sean Porter, you talk about Danny Garcia, you talk about Jaron Ennis, you talk about Ugas, you talk about Pacquiao, everyone else that's around, and he's not facing anyone. And remember, we were told, don't know how true it is, but Manny had an offer sheet with a signature on it. And he declined it after chasing this man for so many years or whatever. And word has been that he doesn't like certain terms and things like that. Well, go sit your butt down somewhere and get out of the way. Huh? Because your next drop is off the list. And the fact that he hasn't fought in a year, it's like, that's kind of cool too, because that makes it even more easier. While other people are getting in the ring and doing their thing with getting their pound of flesh and increasing, hey, you're not doing anything. So Bud Crawford, you've already dropped out of the top 5. Huh? Jamal Charlo, that's supposed to read Jamel Charlo, so forgive me, people. That's number 5. That's supposed to be Mel, not Maul, because Maul is, I have him at 7. But Mel Charlo fell out of the top spot when he opened his mouth. Because remember, I said the Thunderous top 10 is also representative of the impact that you have on the sport, positively and negatively. And I thought that his comments and his behavior were detrimental to a world-class fighter and champion that put himself in a position for people to talk about him. Now you could say, well, it should just be about boxing. Well, if it should just be about boxing, keep your mouth closed and talk about boxing. But when you say things that are just socially ruining, it has to be addressed. And his comments on Wilder and all of that, and about race and boxing and things like that, and then he comes back and gives a half-hearted apology about the situation, but then he goes back and doubles down and talks about being from the streets. He's got shooters and all of this. It's like, really? Okay. So thus his fall from grace. At number 4, Gervonta Tank Davis, who I believe tomorrow night is going to show us why he is number 4 and has moved up. Because I do believe that that little brother there is a powder keg and he's going to explode. And I want to see it. I'm very hopeful for him because I do believe he's a talent. I do believe his people are holding him back a little bit. They may have their reasons, but my goodness, sometimes you just got to let the horse out of the stable. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. And that's what I'm hoping to see starting with tomorrow night. If he has another explosive performance, they should kind of loosen the reins on him. If it's a tight situation, they should still loosen the reins on him. It has to be encouraging. But I do know this, they're holding him outside the ring too long. He should be a lot more active than what he is. Now at number 3, Josh Taylor. With all due respect, what he has accomplished in his career at the weight class that he's fighting at and the opponents that he has beaten to arrive at being undisputed, one of the few undisputed champions in the sport, if not the only currently, I believe, right? Unless you want to count Clarissa Shields from the women's side. But it's great to see a fighter do it the right way, just like Andre Ward did it years ago when he went through the divisions and took on the best in class of his weight class. You know, hey, hats off to Josh Taylor. Now at number 2, we have that new entry that I alluded to earlier, and that's Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. And the reason that Deontay ended up on this list is because when he finally decided to start talking publicly, he took to the people that support and love him. And not from a point of like resentment, but because he recognized as a people's champion what that really means. And I had said he channels the spirit that Ali had as a people's champion when he talks and has the energy he gives and things like that. There's a reason why there's a collective position against him and what he represents, and that's all political, but it's a deeper thing than just political. But the man, I believe, when he comes back for this rubber match, is going to show us the real fighter that he is. And I look forward to seeing how he represents after regaining his championship. At number 1, Errol Spence Jr., who's the very same as far as his spirit and his intelligence and how he represents. He's the type of guy that you want to see be a champion and class individual. If he can become undisputed, he would wear that crown well. Earl is funny. He can make some comments that will shut people's mouths, and they're like short quips. I love that about him because that shows the intelligence of the man, and that intelligence parlays into how he fights in the ring as well. So I love that about him, and the fact that he and Deontay Wilder being so close and what they do as far as how they represent, that's finds them appropriately right there beside each other in these ratings. So that's my thunderous top 10 and my reasons why. Now, Reggie, if you want to say anything about it, you feel free to say whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna, be like, oh, I don't agree, I argue, but I just gave an explanation for my reasons for the adjustments and changes that I made to the list.
Yeah, no, I feel you, but I don't agree with a lot of names on the list. I like Wilder. He's one of my top guys in boxing right now, but I wouldn't have him on the list till after this fight. Shakur, I wouldn't have Shakur. I just don't think I like Shakur. Just don't think he has gotten the experience of getting these fights because of who he's with. And he's bound to be on it. He's determined to get these fights. See a new type of motivation from Shakur. Shakur's tapping in, speaking about the pain he went through losing the Olympics. He's inspired. His apology from that last fight, which he should have never gave, it's motivated him. But to me, he doesn't have the fights yet. I wouldn't have him I wouldn't even have him in the top 10. I would have put Teofimo in this list. The Jamal one, wait, where's Jamal at? Oh, let me turn this phone real quick.
Maul is really at number 7, and Mel is at number 5. I just made a mistake and wrote them both as Maul.
Right. I would have had Monster Inoue in the list. Josh Taylor would have probably been, him and Earl Spence would have been number 2. Terrence Crawford would be, he dropping the ball so much, I can understand dropping him. Probably Tank Davis, but I wouldn't have Wilder on the list because he ain't been on the list. Got to get him into this victory lane in that trilogy. He's one of my favorite fighters, but I can't be showing favoritism with trying to rank something. I would have had Monster Inoue in there. He's doing his thing. He's a fighter who's earned it through the tournaments. And I would have had Teofimo. I wouldn't have Shakur on there. I'd probably have Teofimo down at number 9. I would have had Oscar Valdez at 10, Teofimo at probably number 8, Devin Haney at number 9. But everything else, yeah, that's how I would have had the list. Those are only 2 names I won't agree on the list, is the Shakur and Wilder on there.
Yeah. And remember, like I said before, the Thunderous Top 10 is not so much a pound-for-pound list as I had said. It's like fighters who are most impactful on the sport. If you notice that when they had their presser, the entire conversation was about Deontay Wilder and not speaking to the press. Boy, they were pissed about that. But when he wasn't talking, they put words in his mouth of things he didn't even say or do. So it's like, it's interesting. And when a person is like that, that person has a high impact on the sport. A person has it's like they're looking, if he walked out tomorrow in front of a press conference and decided to say something, they break their necks to be out there with him, you know, and hear what he have to say. But he's reluctant to do that now because he recognized the game that's being played. So he's channeling his energies into what he's going to do physically. And I understand that. And that's the best way to be. Because you remember when we had lesser individuals of lesser character, like Mike Tyson, they blow up at the press, talking about they want to fornicate with the female press people, and, you know, calling them all kinds of names and this and that, and be threatening to rape them, and just all kinds of stuff. And they love that too, because it was like, wow, we got something to write in the paper, you know. But look at what the man did to himself publicly. He was a disgrace. So the fact that Deontay has that history under his belt and he can utilize that to remain focused, that's a positive. And that's a lot of pressure as well. I think the fight is going to be something exciting, and it's probably going to be the best of the three. But it's his impact that he have on the sport, and he hasn't even fought yet, that put him on this list like that. Who else on the list do you think gives that type of dynamic with media coverage and everything? Nobody on this list. And it's interesting because if he was able to have some fights under his belt before that, what does he do? He knocks people out. And it's like, wow. So now we're talking about his character. He's transcending the sport, which is impactful. That's why he's on there. But yeah, salute to everybody out there and your comments on there and everything. But that's the Thunderous Top 10, and it can change from week to week. It's not something that's etched in stone. And I've talked about this as well before. It's like we could have matches this weekend, and as you saw, there is someone that's on there on that list that's fighting this weekend, and that's Gervonta Davis. We're anxious to see what's gonna happen, you know, with his bout. So that's exciting. Looking forward to that. Now I guess we can get down and talk about some of the fights for this weekend, Reggie. I did some videos pretty much covering a lot of this stuff, but I wanted to ask you, as we get into it, what are your thoughts on the Erickson Lubin and Jason Rosario fight that's coming up this weekend? Like to get your take on that and what you think about this fight.
That's gonna be a thrilling fight because there's a lot on the line for both of those fighters. There is a lot on the line. For Rosario, coming off that loss, I don't know if he's trying to get himself in a position, because it looks like both of these fighters are being positioned to possibly getting a shot at Jermell. And I'm pretty sure maybe Rosario would like to avenge that loss, being it was in a fight. In my opinion, the way I watched that fight with him and Charlos, he was pretty much controlling the fight. I know the judges didn't have it that way on the scorecards, but that was some iffy judging because I thought he controlled Charlo at the end of his jab. He was very strong. He boxed well, maintained his length on Charlo, and Charlo just had to battle through. It was just when Charlo landed that one punch, hitting this guy right on the temple, which is a kind of his Achilles heel. That scene where I first seen Boucher crack him at. He has a weak point there. Charlo able to throw that overhanded hook up to his head, catch him there, and it was curtains. It was even before the jab to the body that gets highlighted a lot. But when he got him in trouble from there, Charlo never turned the gas. He never took his foot off the pedal, and then sticking that guy to the body with the jab. But I'm pretty sure Rosario would like to avenge that, get back in there with Charlo, because it was a fight in which he could win it. So I'm pretty sure he wants to avenge that. And also with Lubin going in there, did Jermell knock him out Yeah, Jamel knocked him out. That was J-Rock got knocked out by Jamal. So and Lubin has been vocal about trying to get his shot back. And even like his trainer Cunningham was saying, he was young when he went after that fight. He pursued Charlo. It's a little bit over aggressive, over anxious. He was boxing well before that punch landed on him. And he's looking to work his way up, but he's going to have a lot because he's going to be determined to win this fight as well as Rosario because there's a lot on the line. A loss sets them back into what's their ultimate goal. Both of these guys have a goal. They have a mission of where they're trying to be. Lubin's trying to avenge his loss, but also become a champion. And he has this guy right here. And how does he deal with Rosario's jab? How does he deal with Rosario's strength? And how well does Rosario deal with Lubin's strength? Because Lubin can box in, he can crack. How well does Rosario protect themselves? Because like I said, defense that spot in his head is a weak point for him. How well does he move his head? How well does he keep covered? So it's going to be, to me, this is going to be probably the fight of the night right here, because it's going to probably be a back and forth between each other. There's a possibility someone gets knocked out, and there's a lot that lays on the line as they kind of punch their ticket at possibly getting a shot to be, when they get that shot with Charlo or whoever wins between Charlo and Castano, they get a shot at becoming possibly undisputed champions. And to touch that, for Rosario to touch that belt again, I know that feeling was something he couldn't describe, because it was such a great feeling to become a champion, lose it in that matter, but to ultimately go back in it to fight the same guy you lost to and probably achieve more by being kind of the person that holds all the cards. So there's a lot of motivation in this fight. Who comes out in this one, I don't know, because Rosario is a strong boxer. He's a good boxer, but I'm going for Lubin. I like Lubin. I want to see him get his shot and see what him and Jamel can do if they get that opportunity to fight again. But it's going to be a tough fight, super tough fight.
Yeah, I believe this could be the fight of the fight of the night, so to speak. What resides between these two is the intangibles. And I talked about this in my pre-fight video breakdown. Lubin has been on a path of recovery and rediscovery as far as his career after being stopped by Mel in one round with that vicious uppercut. However, in his fight against Gaucher, he got tagged and he was wobbled a little bit. He managed to win the fight, hands down. Kind of similar to the situation what happened to Devin Haney. He took a good shot that rocked him or whatever. But what it told me more about Lubin is that he's such an offensive guy that he may not react to getting hit very well. And Rosario has heavy hands. If he could get something home and shake him or put him on the defensive because his hands are heavy, it'll be interesting how Lubin responds to that. Now, Rosario, on the other hand, never really got a chance to get a taste of reigning as a unified champ, because after defeating J-Rock, he went right into his fight with Mel, and when losing the fight the way he did, and this being his first fight since that loss, we don't know how he's going to respond being back in the ring. We don't know if he's going to have mental deficiency because of how he lost. We don't know if the confidence is going to be there to be able to challenge another fighter who has championship and aspirations. So it's like those are the unknowns, and we won't know those things until they get in the ring. But they are the handicaps that will define this fight, I believe. And the person who is able to overcome their personal handicaps the most in this fight will probably be the person who prevails. Now, Lubin is also a southpaw, which is very interesting, because the first time that Rosario hits him, it's going to be interesting because Lubin is, you know, before he lost to Mel, he had a lot of aggression and he thought he was better than he was, right? Well, in those 5 or 6 fights that he's had since that loss, and he's tried to come back and mend himself, again, that Gaucher fight kind of showed us a little something there, and Gaucher was not necessarily considered at his level. Remember, when they made that fight, Gaucher was brought in as the opponent. And Gaucher has pretty much performed very well since that fight and other fights he's had. So we don't really know. The jury is still out on Lubin. And this is not trying to take away from him being successful or anything. It's an honest assessment about where both guys may be. And somebody's going to have to step out into the forefront. But that's why this fight is intriguing. This is why you guys need to tune into it and just, you know, take in consideration the handicaps that I'm speaking of, because that does play a role. And we'll see how the guys, you know, handle it. But I'm excited about it. It's a darn good fight. Man, I can't wait. Opening bell. That's those are my thoughts on that. So and I see you guys in the chat are kind of talking about it a little bit too. But yeah. So anything else on that, Reggie? This particular fight?
No, I just think it's gonna be fight of the night, man. Like I say, I want Lubin to win, but this is gonna be an extremely tough fight for him, and I hope they come with the strategy. I know him and his coach is gonna come in with the right game plan, right strategy to go in here and win this fight. It ain't gonna be like he can fight this how that Gaucher fight went. He's gonna be forced to fight. He ain't gonna get an opponent that comes in there and is not engaging. This dude Rosario's coming to engage, and hopefully Lubin's prepared for it. But that don't guarantee him to win, because this dude is tough, man. This Rosario cat is real tough. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Lubin in this one.
Yes, sir. Darn good fight. And let's speak about let's speak about what we might consider that's supposed to be the main event of the evening, even though there's another card on another network. But Davis versus Barrios. What are your thoughts on this one, Reggie?
Man, that height advantage is crazy. That height advantage is real crazy, and also with the fact that he's coming up in weight, and how well does Tank deal with that? How well does Tank deal with the height of this guy, and also being he's kind of more natural, but also thinking about the natural thing is that this dude fought down in the 130s as well, 130 or 135. So he's moving up. So what is his real true power, being that Barrios hasn't fought any of the real top guys to really test where his power is at. So him and Tank may register around the same when it comes to power. I know Tank has been in the gym with bigger guys. We've seen what he did against the 140-pounder. What's the dude ducked out of the fight? Ivan Redcatch. So the power is there, and you hear stories about where Tank power is rated. The only thing is, how well does Tank deal with the height of this dude? Because this guy can stay on the outside if his feet are that good. So it's about how well does he move. And then also, again, how well does Tank move? I haven't really been able to assess how well Tank's ability to move and cut people off inside of the ring is, being he hasn't fought those kind of opponents that move well in the ring. And now he's dealing with a tall guy. That guy can pose issues for him. And I know Barrios is active as a fighter. There could be issues where Tank goes behind on these cards. How well does Tank deal with that aspect of, you know, thinking of things mentally? If he is kind of being outboxed, this guy moving away from him, how does Tank stay calm? Does Tank become frustrated? If he becomes frustrated, that puts him in a bad situation. It can make things worse for him. How does he get his work off? How well is he able to land? And if he's just looking to try to knock this guy off, he sets things up. But I think Tank does a good job setting ways to get his opponents up out of there. I don't think he's a guy concentrated on just that one punch. He does good methodical work on folks, but it's just dealing with the hype of who he's going to be in here with. Just got to see how he handles that. I'm going for Tank, but this is going to be a tough fight for Tank. And could they have bit off more than they could chew? It's a possibility in this one. But also, it could be that Tank lands that same punch he landed on Santa Cruz. We got to see how well does Barrios react to it. Or does Barrios have the resistance at this weight to be able to take Tank's punching power? So that's what I want to see. Or how well does Tank box? Because I mean, he is a fighter, so we got to show that ability to box. He got hands though, so but this is crazy disadvantages for Tank in this fight.
Yeah, my thoughts on this are similar about Tank and his height disadvantage. It's going to be interesting to see what Barrios' plan is, because if Barrios plans to get close to Tank and like try to fight him on the inside or try to get in close where mid-range where he can, you know, throw power punches in exchange, he's gonna get knocked out, because Tank punches a lot harder than guys realize. And this is not necessarily about hard punching, Reggie, but what I noticed from some of Tank's earlier fights, when he was hitting guys, he was getting some severe damage in there. Like I saw him a few fights ago. I think it was the guy he fought before he fought what's the Cuban's name? I'm having Gamboa. I'm having a hard time remembering Gamboa's name recently for whatever reason. But I think it was the guy he fought before Gamboa. He hit with the first punch solid in the face and bust the guy's face up. When a guy can punch like that, he'll make the opponents adjust their game plan. And that's when the fight becomes easier for him. And I think that Barrios, even though he's the bigger guy in this fight, when he gets hit by Tank, he's going to be like, because it's hard to fathom it, Reggie. It's almost like when, and I hate to use this analogy, but when Mike Tyson was fighting in the heavyweight division, you saw him knocking a lot of guys out and stuff early in his career. But when he started fighting the more known guys like the James Quick Tillises and the Bone Crusher Smiths, those guys, they were heavyweight champions and contenders who been in tough. So him punching hard didn't really mean much to them. But still, when he got hit by them, something happened. They decided to hold. They decided to hang on and in there and kill the clock. They didn't fight him as much as they were fighting other heavyweights. And I think that's what we're going to see here. Unless Barrios decides to stay on the outside, use lateral movement, because he's not the most fleet of foot guy. He can step around though. You can pop, you know, keep a guy at a certain range. He gets in too close, you tie him up, you wrap him up, you walk him back, you walk him sideways, you walk him in a circle. There are tactics that you can do, but will he remain disciplined enough to do those things? We don't know. And that's the interesting factor, because when Tank puts hands on a guy, we're going to see, you know, and him punching hard, meaning Barrios, that doesn't really mean it, because you have to understand that Tank, being who he is and how little he is, he's had guys open up on him before, because he is a powerful guy himself and he's smaller. So he's conditioned to take that kind of stuff. But is Barrios conditioned to take what he has to offer? That right there is the interesting aspect. But I still think it's going to be a very good fight. But I do expect Tank to pull this one out. It may be sudden, like the fight between Tank and Santa Cruz, because that was a sudden ending, right? Or it could be slow, and you'll see Barrios get busted up, because I've seen how he's looked after some fights and he gets hit. This is a man you can't get hit against because he gonna knock your block off. You understand? So those are my assessments on that one. And I just can't wait, man. I'm very excited about the card. Good fights, and I'm looking forward to it. So, but those are my thoughts on the Tank Davis Barrios fight.
Yeah, that's all I have on that one as well.
Yeah, so let's move forward to the other fight that's on the other network. And of course, this is the one that a lot of people been talking about and going back and forth about, which is interesting. It's nice when boxing offers matches, right, where people can have difference of opinions, but it's like only one ending it can be, right? But it's like, it's great to hear, you know, people try to give their assessments. And this is the fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Masayoshi Nakatani. Forgive me for murdering his name. But yeah, now this fight is kind of scheduled to come on a little bit later. I think they're hoping that Tank's fight ends early and it'll come out like Vasily is the main event of the night. So it's like, I don't know if it'll work out that way, but what are your thoughts on this one, Reg?
This one, I'm more confident with picking who I think may win this fight. And in this one, I think Nagatani's going to win. I think Nagatani is the one guy at 135 that people are sleeping on. I think he poses the greatest risk and threat to a lot of these top guys out there. And that's just based on his unusual size. I believe like 6'1" or something. He towers over everybody. He's a come forward style fighter. He's resilient. He's hard to get up out of there. You watch what Verdejo did and how he just broke Verdejo. Same thing he was doing with Teofimo. He caused doubts in Teofimo. It wasn't what Teofimo says he was going on outside the ring. It was a fact of what he was dealing with this tall dude. But Teo said, I ain't fighting no more tall fighters. This guy is a problem. And he comes from over there in a school where they're disciplined. He's going to listen to his coach. They have, they're a little bit more disciplined and regimented about what they do. And with Loma already being small for this division, then he's walking in here against a relative to him who was a giant to him. And the problem with what Loma is doing, making a mistake with this one, but if it ain't a mistake, I commend him for taking the fight. But he's doing the wrong thing of wanting to take this fight to prove something to Teofimo, because he has this obsession with Teofimo being for the fact that he has suffered another loss, and a loss to where he doesn't have any more titles. He's doing too much of focusing on himself and doing too much of trying to do this triangle theory and thinking he's going to face the guy who gave Teofimo probably his most questionable win and think he's going to do something. And Loma's going to find out that it ain't that. The angles, the old style twisting pivots and all that stuff ain't going to work on this tall dude. This dude take one step, he's about 5 feet away from Lomachenko. Lomachenko legs are too short, his arms too short. This guy, to me, he's going to have an advantage of height to be able to look down, get his punches in there, and he's just going to box well with Loma. Loma may try to attack him to the body, but who knows? He may clean that up. But in this one, I think I got him stopping Loma. I think if it comes on to where it's that kind of pace of a fight, this guy's putting in that work. He's going to lay on Loma when he needs to. He's going to stay on the outside, jab Loma. And the pivoting stuff just ain't working. It ain't going to work. And like I said, Nagatani is one of these guys that people are sleeping on, for one, because he's from China. He's not mentioned a lot, but I think he's going to make his mark within that division. He's going to definitely make his mark. But I got Nagatani winning that fight. Yeah, you still there, Stormy?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had muted my mic because I was coughing in the background and I forgot to unmute it. Sorry about that. I feel the same. I'm going with Nakatani. I remember the fight that Lomo had against Linares where he got dropped, you know, with that straight punch down the middle. And Linares wasn't able to follow up on that for whatever reason. He never threw the same punch again. He kind of changed up what he was doing, and I didn't like that. I did not like that at all. And then when he fought Campbell, he didn't look good against him. So I'm like, what is he doing? So and lastly, and I remember this very well, when he was going to fight T.O., I was on 78 Sports TV. He had invited me on his platform. We were doing my 1,000 subs subscribe drive, and it was the weekend for that fight, that Friday. And I gave my breakdown and assessment of that fight, and I broke it down in favor of Lomachenko, and to the degree that 78 was like, man, Stormy making me think I might have to change my pick in the fight because he was going with T.O. And, of course, the fight happened. And who would have known that Loma would come out and not throw punches for the first 6 rounds? That right there, I was totally disgusted in him. Then later on, he tried to say, you know, the judges cheated him and this and that or whatever, Bob Arum, you know, blah, blah, blah. He said a lot of different things. Now, he said those things. Deontay Wilder didn't say those kind of things, but he said those things. So now, having a little bit of data on Vasily Lomachenko, I don't trust him anymore, Reggie. I don't. And he's an aging fighter. Now, Nakatani is a contending, hungry fighter. He wants to be a world champion. You could tell by the way he fights. His fight with Felix Verdejo showed a lot about him. He was down, he got up, he fought back, he took Verdejo's heart and took him out of the fight. And if you look at how Verdejo has gone since then, it's like he dismantled that kid. So when I make the assessment of Nakatani being the fresher fighter here, the fighter who has more to fight for, because remember, Vasily has had his success. He's been a guy with all the belts, almost all the belts. He's been a guy who has been adorned and told he was the best and this and that, even though he wasn't. And now he's going up against a guy he's got to prove that to. Now, remember, he wasn't able to prove that to Teofimo, but he did have success late against Teofimo. But that was after not doing much in the early rounds, conserving himself, and not taking really any damage or anything. But he won't be able to get out of the way of this guy because the guy is big, he's rangy, he throws power punches, he knows how to fight, he has heart. If you hurt him or knock him down, he'll get up and fight harder. We've seen it. So it's like now we're seeing the truth come to fruition. And this is something that, like I said, as much as a person can like Vasily, you have to consider what he did in his last outing. And he wasn't truthful. If he was really hurting the shoulder, he shouldn't have took the fight. But his shoulder wasn't hurting him when he was fighting in those later rounds. He could have did what he did in the later rounds early and possibly made Teofimo quit or defeat him by a stoppage or something. But he didn't even try. And when you got a guy out there that won't throw any punches for multiple rounds on end, I'm sorry, Reggie, that's a guy that you cannot put any faith or trust in. He has to win the favor back. by defeating Nakatani before I give the respect that a person is due. But for right now, I'm seeing Nakatani as the fighter who's going to prevail here, and he's going to go on and continue to wreak problems for these guys at that weight class in that division because of his size and his range. I like the guy. I like him, and I'm looking for him for a middle to late round stoppage. And I said middle because if Vasily Lomachenko took the first 6 rounds off against Teofimo, who fought safe, who just was, you know, scoring and stuff like that, against a guy who's going to be trying to take his head off in Nakatani, he's going to have to fight. And like I said, he's an aging fighter. He's going to wear down. So possibly by the middle rounds, round 7 or so, Vasily might be like, you know what? I just don't have it no more. And I could see him quitting on his stool. And they'll say, oh, he threw his shoulder out again or something like that. So this is what I see. And I got Nakatani by TKO or KO.
I'm right there with you on that one.
Yeah, so, but yeah, those are my thoughts on that one. And we do have, interestingly, Reggie, there's a fight card on there's a fight card on Sunday where we'll see Morel versus Cazares, and this fight, super middleweights, Reggie, good fight too, because one of these guys might end up getting Canelo or Benavidez. We don't know, but it's gonna be an interesting fight. And boxing on a Sunday, Reggie. I mean, it don't get no better than that, because I like Sunday night fights, man. What are your thoughts on this one, or did you know about this one?
No, I don't even know about it. I don't even know who the guys are. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, they're going to fight Sunday night. According to what I have here, I actually pulled up a program on them for Sunday. Trying to think real quick. These guys are fighting in Minneapolis. One is just waiting for my computer's running a little slow. Yeah, David Morel versus Mario Cazares. And these men are, oh, it's a cruiserweight fight on this card too, Reggie. Yeah. Morel is the WBA super middleweight champ. So he's coming out there. This is his first headliner. But you know, so it's obvious it's gonna pretty much be a showcase fight for him, because if it's his first headliner, they didn't intend to put him in too tough. You know what I mean? So he's probably gonna beat Cazares, but it's just good that we're having some championship boxing on a Sunday, man. I like that. And these are, like I said, super middleweights. So, you know, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I might end up checking that out. I was trying to get it pulled up to see who they are too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the one thing. It's like sometimes when you don't know the guys, it's good because you could just sit there and watch, you know, and see who's gonna do what because you don't know who they are. You're not familiar with them. But this is a good Sunday fight, man. Some super middleweights and everything. Fox, you know, I'll take it. So,
you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, I was saying, Fox fights on Sunday night. I'll take it, you know. So I look forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
For whatever reason, I accidentally hit that button too that shows our icons on the screen. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. It's like OG messing up. So yeah, Reggie, that's pretty much it, man. We had a great show. We got a chance to touch on these fights for this weekend because last weekend the show remained so deeply dedicated to Fury Wilder 3. Didn't talk about anything much outside of that, but tonight we got some of that in, as well as these fights here with great breakdowns and assessments of what we think we're going to see. So I'm very happy with that. And why don't you go ahead and give your final thoughts and let everybody know where they can find you, and if you're calling the fights, what time you'll be all set up and ready to go for that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The fight times, I don't know what time I'm a start because I don't like to start too early and not too much going on. I'm definitely going to probably do the 3 fights on the card, the main event, the feature fight, and the one that opens before that. Because anytime I put a time out, I'm always changing the time on my start times. But I'll probably have it up there tomorrow once I find out closer to when they start. I see who the card for Sunday. That is going to be a good card. And I think that Kazar's dude, I think that's the dude who was fighting Billy Joe Saunders. If that's, I'd probably ask XL Dub. I know I've seen that last name from somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing both of these Saturday and Sunday fights. I'm gonna call. I'm definitely watching them. Mm-hmm. But that's all I got, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next Friday or on the post fight tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, we'll have a post fight show again after the fights commence, man. And you know, Reggie and I will be back to talk about everything that you witnessed earlier in the evening. And I want to say we got a super chat out there from Drew Titan. Salute to Drew Titan out there in that super chat. He says, I had to slip this jab in. Appreciate you, Drew, man, and your donations for the show and the channel, man. Appreciate that. Drew Titan in the super chat. If everybody know who Drew is out there, the Druth. So go out there and check him out. He be doing his thing Monday through Friday in the mornings. And he's got some good content over there as well. So, but yeah, man, great show, Reggie. Look forward to your call tomorrow night. We'll be out there listening and get back here for the post-fight show, man. And my final thoughts are, I want to say thanks to everybody that came out and listened to us this evening, because we've got a nice little round of thumbs up over there, which is nice because there's some other people on right now as well. So I know sometimes people bounce around through the channels just to show support and love to everybody. So I really appreciate those who decided to stop by, even if it was only just to hit the like button. Appreciate that. And you know, for those who decided to rock with us the whole show, appreciate you for doing that as well. I mean, we try to, you know, keep it on the level here when we talk about boxing on the Friday night chop session. And we just look forward to presenting, you know, these quality shows for you guys. So thanks again for everybody tuning in. And for my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, this is Stormybman. We're going to get on up out of here. Peace to everybody. Enjoy those fights tomorrow. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.